everybody. So good to see you. I'm so happy to be back. It's Monday, so this is our Lost in Space night. Tonight, we are going to be back with the second episode from season 2 called Wild Adventure. But first of all, hello to my fellow panelists. Gorilla, how are you doing?
I'm doing all right. Right there.
Well, it's good to see you there, sir. Glad you're doing well. How are you doing, PPP?
Not too bad, not too bad. I can't really complain too seriously about anything. So yeah, it was a decent day today, actually.
Life has its ups and downs, but it can't be too bad, right? It could be a lot worse.
Oh yeah, I've seen other people out and about that look like they're much worse off. So
Yeah.
I try to look on the bright side, if at all possible. So yeah.
Best part to remember is that we have a roof over our head and a meal to eat. So some people
Yep.
don't have that. So, we're very blessed. And I
Yes.
wanted to say hello to the chat. Looks like the first person here was Lemon Pie. Lemon Pie says, hi there, Pop. So good to see you, Lemon Pie. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're staying warm.
Hi, Lemon.
Hey there, Scurvy.
So tonight, let's see, it's okay. We got started on time. We'll probably get to this episode fairly quickly. There's not a lot of there's some behind the scenes info and stuff on the creation of this episode, but it's not like a lot, not really like a milestone or anything. But there'll be some interesting facts, and of course, I'll cover the guest star of the episode, who had also had been in other productions as well. And hello, DBB. So good to see you. DBB says hello, Pops, Gorilla, and PvP. Good to hear you guys yesterday on Gorilla's channel. Yeah, that was fun. That was great. It was a good
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah. Hey there, Jill.
Hello.
Yeah. Hi,
Hello,
DV.
Jill. Good to see you. Hope you're
Hi.
doing well.
Hi, Jill.
Doing great. Thank you.
So
Now,
I
Jill,
got
let me clarify, Jill. You won't be here. There's no next Monday because of Christmas. Is that right?
Correct. No next Monday due to Christmas.
I know.
Actually,
You can stream, but I won't be here.
Well, I was going to say it's Christmas for a lot of people. We're getting, the closer we get to the 25th. So I may delay my streams. I might do the Rumblings from the Lab because that's just me. But I think I may delay the Lost in Space next week and the horror sci-fi because a lot of people will be busy either with their families or out of town or doing various holiday things.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still not even sure on Saturday. But I will say that movie we watched last night, though, had the best dialogue of all movies of 2023.
Yeah, you could quote every word of it, couldn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, we got every word memorized.
Yeah, it was refreshing. A modern movie that there was not one bit of dialogue that I found annoying. It was quite remarkable.
Yeah, how far did we get through that movie? Almost an hour, right, Gorilla?
52 minutes and 12 seconds before Cosby crashed.
Right, not a single spoken word in the movie. And the title of the movie was A Silent Night.
Yeah.
Very
That was
fitting.
definitely silent. It actually worked out well, though, because it was kind of almost more fun just having a panel discussion, than watching the movie in a way.
Yeah, I had a good time. Besides,
Yeah.
maybe that gives us the opportunity to wait a few weeks until a better copy of the movie comes out.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah.
Without all the gambling ads and spam and all that stuff.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Yeah, at least now I know I could skip them.
I know. It does help when you can skip them. DBB says, hey, Lemon. Lemon Pie says, hey, PPP Gorilla.
Yeah. Hey, DVB.
And hey, DBB says Lemon Pie. Excuse me, I'm going to clear my throat. DBB says, is it weird that I enjoy YouTube shows about movies and shows that either I've never seen or haven't seen in a long time? No, I don't think that's a new. Well, I don't think if it's about movies you haven't seen in a long time, that's understandable. I don't know if it's entertaining to watch a stream about a movie you have not seen yet. I hate to be the one to give you spoilers if I don't want to ruin it.
Hey, well, there's been quite a few times that the panel discussions or whatever, the things on YouTube are more entertaining than the show or movie or viewing.
Oh yeah, you got that
Very
right.
often. Yeah, be true.
And DBB says, hey, Antiderivative Jill. All right.
Hello, DVB.
Lemon Pie says, DBB, no, it's not weird. And DBB says, thanks for that, Lemon. All right. So, yes, tonight we're going to cover episode 2 of season 2 of Lost in Space. The Robinsons are finally off Pre-Planus, which blew up and broke up, apparently. And now we're on the second episode titled Wild Adventure. Do you guys have anything you want to add before we get started on this?
I don't want to give any spoilers, so I'll just wait until we, get into the episode a bit.
Clear my voice.
I'll register my complaint when we get to it.
Yeah, I definitely have some thoughts on
one.
this one, though. Definitely have some thoughts on this episode.
Okay. This episode will be written by William Reed Whitfield and Alan Balter. This will be their last episode, their last assignment working for Irwin Allen. Before this, they
Thank
had written.
goodness.
I'm going to be covering that. Thank you.
Yeah, I can understand that, actually.
Apparently, they did not leave on a good note. This was kind of like giving the middle finger to Irwin Allen.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. I get that. Actually makes a lot of sense, Bob.
Yeah, apparently they had worked previously. Some of them went back to Forest Twilight Zone, but they had written scripts for Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea and The Time Tome. But it's I'm glad I read a little bit of this ahead of time. Considering how long the fans of the series had watched the Robinsons languish on the same planet for week after week, in season 1, Wild Adventure may at first be a disappointment. This is about to be the assessment from the book Lost in Space, the authorized autobiography of a classic sci-fi series, Volume 2 by Mark Cushman. So, considering how long the fans of the series had watched the Robinsons languish on the same planet for week after week in season 1, Wild Adventure may at first be a disappointment. This does not mean to imply that the episode is devoid of entertainment value or a failure. To the contrary, it is both entertaining and imaginative, but it does struggle and drag as it plods along. While the transforming session between the writers and story editor Tony Wilson brought about a tale with many wild plot points and smattering of adventure, the execution of the ideas in the script from left much to be desired. John Robinson, Major West, and the rest of the cast are better utilized here than in many of the planet-based episodes, but the use of these characters is somewhat pedestrian. All have things to say, but they often state the obvious. Like, for example, dialogue on page 1 where Will says, "We must be nearly 1 million miles out in space by now." And John responds, "Closer to 2 million." Alan Balter and William Reed Whitfield were certainly capable of better than this, but with this final script assignment to fulfill their contract with Irwin Allen, they appeared to be in a hurry to leave the room and the employ of Allen. In their rush, they forgot to write in a line of dialogue declaring that the ball of cosmic dust that Jupiter 2 passes through is all that is left of the planet they just blasted off from moments before. Nor did the writers figure out how to resolve the part of the story involving the space Lorelei. The writers wanted to call the episode the Space Lorelei, but apparently they did not get that opportunity, so instead it was called Wild Adventure. The saving grace, along with the fantastic effects for the time and the alluring Vitina Marcus cloud in green and floating through space, is that Whitfield and Balter had a theme for this story. It was stated in exchange of dialogue. So basically, it just repeats some of the dialogue about how they had to change course and how they're trying to get back to Earth. So there's nothing new in that part of it. Reed, Whitfield, and Alan Balter have been working for Irwin Allen since 1964. Balter was an associate producer on Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea that year, alienating episodes with fellow associate producer Joseph Gatman. Balter had also written 2 scripts for The Outer Limits. Whitfield was brought in as a writer for Voyage and struck gold with a couple of the best scripts of that show's season. After those successes, Irwin Allen offered Whitfield a writer's contract to keep him on staff for 2 years. When the series returned for its second season, Balter had started collaborating with Whitfield in order to focus on writing. Stepped down as associate producer, the 2 writers were given an office in the production building. But this was their last assignment, and I guess they had pretty much had burned out. They were burned out working with Irwin Allen. They didn't really care. So obviously, because of that, due to that, there was a lot of rewrites, a lot of notes from Irwin Allen asking them to correct things because I guess they left a lot of plot holes. They didn't seal all of them. There's still some that are left over. I guess there was too many to cover here for this episode. But All right. I don't want to keep blabbing on for too long. We are ready to get started. But yes, as I mentioned, the guest star. Where did I find her name? Of course, I mean we skipped right past that. Is Bettina Marcus, and I'll cover more about her. Apparently, she was a good friend with Irwin Allen. She had done some previous work with him. She had a daughter, and she said that Irwin Allen absolutely loved her daughter. And whenever he would have parties at his house, he would invite both of them over. And I guess he had a merry-go-round with little horses, and the daughter would sit inside the horses. So they got along really great. I guess Irwin Allen was good with kids, and he loved animals, and so did Miss Marcus and her daughter. So okay, so here we are. We're ready to get started as soon as. Let me see. You guys have any questions, or is there any chat? I guess I should check on the chat. Swift.
Looks like Gorilla might have dropped out. I don't know what's happening there.
Oh, I know he was having trouble last night. Maybe he's rebooting.
Yeah,
Good to see you, Taylor Swift. And Jill, are you there? He says, Jill.
Yeah, hello, Matt G.
Good to see you and welcome. I'm glad you could be here tonight. DBB says, so what is the synopsis of this episode?
Oh boy.
Good question.
That's opening a can of worms, that question. Oh,
you're right.
brother.
You're right. I read your assessment about how to read the synopsis.
Disregard of character developments from the past, and it's almost as if they completely forgot what characters know from scene to scene.
You're right. You could definitely tell that it was in the hands of different writers.
Like one moment, Will's like, "You don't know anything about astronomy." Next moment, she's a navigator.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah, the inconsistencies in this episode are quite astounding.
And that's Penny, by the way.
That's Penny,
okay.
yes.
Quite astounding, though, the inconsistencies in the writing. When I watched this one last night, I'm like, oh, brother.
Very inconsistent, right? And you can see why there's a lot of rewrites. It's almost like the people were talking to each other.
Yeah, I love the idea of this episode. I should be having fun. We're out in space. We're not stuck on the planet. And yet, yeah, the writers of this episode really dropped the ball. And it doesn't surprise me that they were running away from the show. I'm surprised they wrote anything at all.
This is similar to that Lost Civilization, I guess, from the last season, right? Probably along the same lines as far as quality.
Yes.
Okay,
I don't know. I might have had more fun with the Civilization Underground.
Oh, yeah, I was hoping Dad wouldn't hear that.
Yeah, I think Lost Civilization, in spite of its flaws, was definitely superior to this one.
It had a bit of creativity.
But it doesn't take much to be superior to this episode. Oh, boy.
The synopsis reads, out in space, Smith tries twice to change course from Alpha Centauri to Earth. The first time he jettisons the reserve fuel by mistake. Next, he heads the ship straight into the sun. Donnelly just gets out of the gravitational pull in time, and they are fortunately able to replenish their fuel supply. That's why I wasn't really going to read the synopsis. It's pretty much the whole thing is spoilers. I guess nobody cares. Don is only just gets it out of the gravitational pull in time, and they are fortunately able to replenish their fuel supply from a string of refueling barges that John remembers have been placed not too far from their path. But a green space Lorelei who feeds upon atomic fuel hypnotizes Smith out of the spaceship in the hope of getting fuel from him. Don goes out and rescues Smith, but now it is too late to head for Earth, and they are speeding rapidly out of the galaxy and are once again more lost in space.
Why are they suddenly so close to Earth? What happened?
Yeah, I had that question too.
Well, I had an issue with the fueling barges.
Yeah. How did they get out there so far away from Earth? Right? It's like
the Robinsons are supposed to be the first ones who are exploring deep space, but no, there were people before who were putting these fuel stations everywhere. So clearly, they are not the pioneers we've been led to believe.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like the intergalactic gas company at work or whatever, putting these stations everywhere. It's like that was pretty weird. Yeah,
I don't mind. I just would like to know where the hell that came from.
it didn't make any sense,
Especially
basically.
when they said they're in another galaxy.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
If they had said solar system, that would have made a little more sense.
Well, speaking of solar system, it's like how the heck do they? Since they've been lost in space for like an entire year or whatever by this point, and you think they're millions and millions, probably light years away from Earth. All of a sudden, they're like right there. Earth's right there. Like it just made no sense to me. Like I just couldn't figure out how the writers were thinking about that one.
Clearly, they weren't. They had one more script to write, and they just
Well,
That's-
and keep
vomited something up.
keep in mind, everybody, also in the pilot episode, the reason why they were all put in stasis is because it was supposedly a 100-year trip to Alpha Centauri. And now
yeah,
I guess they're just going to cruise there.
yeah. And now it's like it takes a day to get back to Earth. Now it's like okay, that makes no sense, but you know.
Yeah, it'll
And
take a couple days.
DBB
Well,
says
still.
cool to hear. DBB says cool to hear about the behind the scenes. I'm glad you like that, DBB. DBB says sounds like it was directed by Ruin Johnson or something. LOL. Speaking of the horrible guy who destroyed Star Wars.
Yeah. Well, I will say it did subvert my expectations. I was expecting a good episode.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, to think they put this one a second in the season. It's like, guys, are you trying to kill the show or something? Putting this as episode number 2. It's like you want to
Well-
attract viewers, right? Not drive
Well,
them
they
away.
did say. Well, they did say this was an FU to Erlen Schwaring.
Schwaring.
No, but you think they would have put this one maybe at the tail end of the season or halfway through it, just to kind of hide it a little bit, if you know
It's
what I mean?
just really bad how they treat Penny, because why does Will think Penny doesn't know anything about astronomy when she's in a family of astronomers? It's like being in a family of basketball players, but not knowing what traveling means. Even if you don't actually practice it, you know a thing or two about it.
Mm. Yeah, it's like that other episode in season 1 when Will was constantly disrespecting Penny. I can't remember the title, but there was another one previously like that too.
Oh yeah, and to start up your engines, all you need are some jumper cables.
It did have a few things that made me scratch my head and wonder about it. That's for sure.
I want to change my vote now on the thing.
Yeah, I
You
think I want
can't.
to. I think I want to change my vote too. I was too generous.
You
But
know,
I only.
I can see why you might like it, because the character, like the actors, still, even with what they're given, they still put on a good performance. Like they're
Well, the
given
only-
nonsense, and they do a great job with it.
The only reason I didn't give the absolute lowest rating to this was I did enjoy the Green Lady. I thought the actress did a really good performance. She was fun to watch, even though it was ridiculous. Like, this Green Lady, she's got a nose, she has nostrils, so therefore you think she must breathe, but she's probably not breathing much since she's in the vacuum of outer space. So
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. But I just enjoyed her performance. To me, this episode it's kind of like Lost in Space's version of maybe Spock's brain or something, because it's so
I
absurd.
don't even mind
I was
that
actually
she's
laughing.
out in space. I just mind that she's singing, and you can hear what she's saying. Of course, space doesn't have sound. I know
Yeah,
that we accept sound from explosions and everything, but this is a little bit too much for me, especially
Oh.
because there's no way for her to actually transmit what she's saying to the
Okay.
inside of the ship.
you'd think
Okay.
so.
Okay, they made this a gas cloud, but yet you could clearly see that it stays on the same frame for I don't know how many minutes of the thing staying in the same spot. But but it made it look solid.
It's possible. I
is the
think it's like
rep-
semi.
If this is supposed to be the remnants of pre-Planis, how are they just a
First
hop,
a
skip,
jump.
and a jump away to?
No, they're 2 million miles from Planet. Because he
Oh,
even
right.
asked
Two,
Don.
well,
Don-
okay, then why is this? Okay, so I think I got mixed up from pop culture's notes saying that 2 million miles away from pre-planets are supposed to be the debris from pre-planets somehow.
Yeah, because that's
I
eight
guess
times. Because they are 8 times farther than our moon is from the Earth here. They're technically eight times further away.
Yeah, funny how whenever they show the Earth, they don't consider the moon. It'd be nice if they would have added that, right?
Oh,
Wild Adventure or Space Lorelei, as Whitfield and Balter wanted to call it, was originally supposed to be the final first season episode.
Oh man.
It was meant
Wow.
to follow. Yeah, it was meant to follow
they picked a
Blast
much better
Off.
episode.
Yeah, believe it or not, this was originally okay. It was meant to follow Blast Off into space. It would have created a 2 episode story arc that sent the cast back into space as season 1 finale. Is what they were originally hoping for. The
Hmm.
cost factors resulting in stalling both Blast Off into Space and Wild Adventure until the renewal for a second season came from CBS in late February of 1966. So that I don't know if that doesn't really explain why they're so close to Earth, but I don't know if that helps explain anything at all. Actually,
Yeah, I don't think there's any way to explain them being so, close to Earth like so quickly. Like it just makes no sense to me.
the kernel for this tale was a transposition of the mythical siren into space. The image of a lovely witch creature luring men to their deaths originated in Homer's Odyssey, in which Odysseus deliberately exposed himself to the siren's enticements. As for Lorelei, as the space siren is called in the script, the name is of German origin and belonging to a rocky cliff on the Rhine River, which created danger for boats passing by. It
That's
was,
interesting because the Star Trek the animated series eventually does use that name for a similar siren story, better siren story
oh yeah, it was
called
better.
Lorelei Signal.
Yes,
Hmm.
and it
Oh,
says, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I just wanted to comment on Jill Still here. Here's another funny bit of Smithisms concerning the robot, because it does start to build and get a lot more creative in this season. And I love the bloated blimp line. I thought that was pretty good.
Well, he had several of similar lines throughout the episode that he injected into it to fill in the
Yes.
blanks.
Oh, yeah. Well, Smith gets more and more creative insulting the
right.
robot in season 2 for sure.
So I do have one issue here. I know that their mission was to go to Alpha Centauri and all that, but they were lost in space, considered lost in space over a year ago. It'd make more sense just go back to Earth, let them know what happened, and restart the mission, and make sure that
Right, but
Dr. Smith was gone.
well, see, I was thinking the same thing. First of all, Smith shouldn't be so happy because if anything, he should be facing a lot of legal charges for what he's been doing. So you think he'd want to avoid Earth at all costs. But I was thinking about that,
Absolutely.
right? But I was thinking about that too, which they'll get to a little later here. Is that when Maureen asks specifically when they're eating dinner, and Maureen says, "So we're not going home." So it's almost like Maureen wants to give up on the mission as well. So
Yeah,
the
a
whole
lot
point,
of people. Judy's extremely happy. Everyone is so happy to go back to Earth once they hear it.
yes, when you think about it, the only ones who want to continue their mission because that was their mission and they're committed to get to Alpha
Well,
Centauri
they
no matter what.
were, except the writers of this episode seem to have forgotten.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, well, once they crashed and been considered lost in space for over a year, their mission's over. That there's a failed mission.
But
Not
I
a
guess
year.
just since they're here, why don't they just drop Smith off, let him face whatever charges he's going to face, and then continue on with their mission if that's what they want
Right,
to do.
get maybe refuel, get some repairs, and then start over again with them back in stasis again.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the thing is, why didn't they just lock Smiths up somewhere until they get back to Earth and then drop them off? Because, once again, they let him wander around the ship.
Well, at one point,
you know.
at one point, Professor Robinson does confine him to quarters, but that's after all that stuff happened.
But there was no reinforcement of it, and he doesn't.
No, and he doesn't. Right. Next thing you know, he's hanging out with Wilda with the robot, and they're right.
Yeah, and then he's basically puts the spacesuit on and goes outside the ship, and
Well,
that
that's when he's under
messes everything
hypnosis.
up.
Well,
That's
this
when he's
episode wastes a bunch of time at the beginning with this fake out where they make us think Smith's the only one who can calculate the Earth's position, but of
Smith
course it was a robot.
Smith just stole all the credit. They should have seen right through that.
Well, that was one of the notes that Irwin Allen said to them when they were rewriting. This is page 14, scene 29, says Irwin Allen. This scene is puzzling. Why would Don and John place so much importance on a computation made by Smith, who previously admitted he had very little knowledge of astronomy? Why can't they make their own sightings?
Exactly, because you can tell me that the robot did it and Smith took credit for it, but I don't believe that John and Don are incapable of creating these calculations themselves. It doesn't work.
Right. And even like I said, and it says here that I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 notes that Irwin Allen sent in. And it says that most of Allen's notes were addressed, but despite his concerns, no effort was made to have Don act intrigued over Smith's report of seeing a green-skinned girl in space. But apparently it sounds like they didn't really pay attention to any of his notes. It says, regarding Whitfield and Balter's second draft, neither seemed to care much about the material by this point. Having some laughs at the expense of Irwin Allen during their last days in the office was more to their liking.
Yeah, right. The way this episode is written, it does seem like they're trying to make fun of him by making this as ridiculous as possible.
And it's also very unprofessional for them to have done that. I mean, it's like
they did it out of spite.
Yeah, but if I saw this episode and I was a producer of any TV show, I'd never hire these guys. Like I'd say, you guys, you're dead to me. I wouldn't work with these clowns, right?
Well, what's interesting is apparently what they were all excited about, and in the hurry to get out of there for, is they were hoping to try out for a new show called Star Trek that was going into production.
Oh, thank goodness they never wrote anything for Star Trek.
Yeah, they saw the pilot, the Cage, and they were intrigued and they wanted to be writers on that. But what happened was, before Star Trek went into production, they were pulled into Mission Impossible. At first, they didn't want to do Mission Impossible, but they ended up getting the job anyway. And they ended up sticking with Mission Impossible. So if that makes you guys happy, yeah. They never did make it into Star Trek.
I don't know. I haven't seen Mission Impossible, but it sounds like it's possible they're not bad writers. They were just deliberately sabotaged this one.
I think Mission Impossible probably would suit them better too, since it was basically sort of an action, spy, guys undercover, operations type of show anyway. So that hopefully they would have produced some better scripts for that show, because Mission Impossible is actually a pretty awesome show. And I don't know if you know this, Jill, but Leonard Nimoy actually joined the cast of Mission Impossible, and he was
after
on
Star Trek. Right after Star Trek was canceled.
I know that only because I read his book, I Am Spock.
Oh, okay.
He talked about his role on there, where he played different characters on the show.
He played the name of the character was Paris.
He played one character, but his character had to assume different kinds of
disguises. Roles. Yeah, a lot of the agents would go on in disguise in some episodes. Yeah.
Possibly the only thing I like about this episode is the food dispenser. Maybe one of the things I'd like is that it's a computer-led food dispenser before Star Trek had their food synthesizer.
Yes, and Professor Robinson does note that this is their first synthesized meal. So I guess on the planet they were eating all, because Will even says that he misses their garden. So I guess now there's no fresh food or anything. Everything is all stored food.
That makes sense. It's one of the few things that makes total sense. I love it.
I wouldn't mind something that would just make food for me, though. That'd be kind of nice to have.
You don't have to think about it, but hopefully it tastes good.
Yeah.
What? Concentrated hyper protein. Does that
May
sound
I ask?
Go ahead,
delicious there. Yeah, why did they paint the walls yellow like that? That just it's like ugly. It's like fugly.
Now is the whole lower deck of the ship yellow or just the kitchen area?
I can't remember.
I thought most of it was silver. I could be wrong. Maybe it's just the kitchen area.
All right. Can we catch up on chats though?
Yeah, can you help me out with that? I appreciate it.
Yeah. And Scurvy here says, Ryan Johnson, subvert expectations. And I said, because you guys mentioned something, I was like, hey, brother. Thanks a lot, Scotty. If you're listening, thanks a lot. You got that stuck in my head.
We'll be getting into that soon.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
Scurvy Seer says, Gorilla fell into the chat. Yeah, my computer died. And it's not a gorilla on a panel or a gorilla stream if my computer don't die at least once during the stream.
Is it overheating or is it losing power or what's going on?
It just slightly comes unplugged and I don't pay attention. It doesn't give me a warning.
Okay. Is it the jack inside the? Is it a laptop or desktop?
It's a laptop and it's not the original charger with the thing.
Okay, so it's the charger that's not fitting correctly. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Oh, makes sense.
Which means it's also not charging the battery.
But it is. But if it comes unplugged, I don't notice it. It just doesn't give me a warning that the battery's low.
Okay.
It says low battery. Then it just starts the shutdown process.
Oh, how nice!
That's not too useful, really, to
Yeah,
warn
by
you
the time
and
it
then it
tells you
dies.
it's too late. Yes.
Yeah. And Scurvy here says, "Hey Swift." And Scurvy says, "Penny's time is over." JK. And traveling at the speed of light, it would take at least 4 years to reach Alpha Centauri from Earth. Yeah. Well, I thought that's what hypervelocity was for. And Scurvy says, TVB, it depends on how often you would stop to buy snacks or use the restroom. And Scurvy says, lost in space, Smith finds the course back to Earth, but a space female lures Smith out of the ship. Saving him would again leave the crew of the Jupiter 2 lost in space. That's from IMDb. And TVB says, probably not many 7-Elevens in space, unfortunately, LOL.
Yeah, you're right.
They find one in this one.
I would totally stop at a diner from Spaceballs on my way to Alpha Centauri and order the soup rather than the special. From what you are all saying, it does kind of sound like they absolutely intentionally sabotaged.
They
Interesting.
did. Even just the basic logic of, hey, we're going towards Earth, but since the sun is in between the Earth and us, we're going to get pulled into the sun, which doesn't make any sense because you can make yourself be in perfect orbit with the sun, even if it's pulling you. That's the thing to do, but that's not the thing that they even mentioned.
Apparently,
they don't really mention orbits very much in Lost in Space, do they? I don't remember them ever orbiting a planet. It's either crush or leave a planet. That's about the extent of it, I think.
yeah. Well, it's because they don't have a steering wheel.
Right?
Well,
they
they
got
do. It's the astrogator.
Right, the astrogator.
Oh boy.
Well, so they can't use that to fly around the sun?
Exactly.
Apparently, our sun's not that big.
I know.
Yeah.
Even Smith says maneuver around the sun. Yes.
Well, you'd think their most advanced spaceship, designed to go all the way to Alpha Centauri, would actually have, a decent steering mechanism. Perhaps, you would hope so.
I'm trying to remember, when Smith said go around the sun, didn't John say they didn't have enough fuel to do that, or no? No, I guess they have plenty of fuel at this point, right?
No,
they went to the station. When did they go to the station? Did they go yet?
Right. Well, he hasn't ejected the fuel yet, has he? I don't think so.
No, he hasn't. You're right.
Right.
There is no.
Yeah. And Scurvy here says, Smith sabotaged this episode. That's his style.
Pretty much.
And we got our usual person turquoise wavy, person turquoise wavy, person turquoise wavy, person turquoise. All right, that's from Taylor Swift. All right, we're all caught up, Jill.
No, he doesn't say they don't have enough fuel. He says that's a risk I don't intend to take.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, this is another Prime episode, though, where you just wish for once they would just leave Smith floating out in space because, he's caused them so much grief over the last year.
That's what Don says at the end of the episode.
When he keeps changing the course there, I would have no issue there if they just place Dr. Smith in a corner, and and somehow by accident he manages to get the release mechanism for the door opens up, and he just can't move because his hands are bound by accident. It's all complete accident. Another
Yeah,
problem.
that would be great.
Pop's paying me big to read the chats there.
You know,
Sorry,
that's
all I can afford is a minimum wage. I apologize.
What the
I get the
What's
big whopping
going on
salary of
in this
$0,
episode
0 cents.
where
With,
supposedly they locked the astrogator, but it can be unlocked with a magnetic ring?
Yes, because Don they obviously locked it because they didn't want anybody tampering with it, but suddenly Smith's ring is magnetic, I guess.
Yep.
so
And
you're
once again,
telling me that
inconsistent writing once again.
so basically they fly past an iron asteroid or something. All of a sudden their course gets changed to crash into the asteroid because it can be changed by magnetics.
I don't know.
Maybe that's why they do. No, but I think you get moved by just a magnet there. You fly. Maybe that's why they crashed into pre-planets is because the magnetism in the planet there changed their course there because their things that crappy.
Well, what if
Because
go ahead.
Yeah, Dr. Smith was changing the course with his ring on that thing, so that means that's such a crappy design. You get by any object that has any kind of magnetism in course.
Well, what if yes, he did use the ring to let's say bypass the astrogator, but what if the ship itself is demagnetized, so on the outside the magnetic effect doesn't pass through the ship's hull? Possibly, I don't know.
Well, another question I have is how can a tiny, tiny little ring throw off such a huge, enormous magnetic field that it's going to, totally mess up a advanced spaceship's controlling mechanisms? It's like, I just don't get it,
Well, I've seen very powerful, strong magnets. That part I didn't have a problem with. But my problem stands with it's a major plot hole now that you can use a magnet to change the course there instead of the controls. So therefore, any kind of magnetism, unless it will be nice to have one dialogue saying that they like have some kind of like demagnetization on the hull there so that wouldn't happen.
Yeah, I mean, a magnetic field, you would hope they'd have safeguards to prevent something like that.
That's my bigger issue than the ring. The ring there, I see some very powerful small magnets.
I know there are. Yeah, I guess there are those Earth magnets or whatever that are very strong and they're pretty tiny. So yeah, I suppose.
Yes,
it's stuff possible. Like that keeps taking me out of this episode.
Really, Jill? I was really looking forward to Jill's analysis of this episode tonight because I figured it was going to be great to hear.
So PvP, does it make you miss Peter Packer?
Actually, I gotta say, yeah, it actually did. It actually did. It was kind of a frightening experience, actually, to realize Peter Packer's not so bad when you watch this thing.
Peter Packer understands the characters.
Yes,
we might have still got the wonky science. Might have been the same, but he wouldn't have messed up Penny like that.
No, definitely not.
Yeah, Peter might not be the best writer on the planet, but at least he made it. At least he tried, to write something decent. Which was pretty much the opposite of what happened with this one. So yeah.
So yes, Dr. Smith unfortunately uses his magnetic ring to throw the astrogator off to send it on a course to Earth. But I remember now the family's down below, so they don't know what's going on yet. But
not only can the astrogator just be thrown off course by a magnet, there's also something on it that says go ahead and release all the fuel cells from the compartment.
Well, no, that's when Smith starts pushing buttons and flipping switches because the robot says they need to recalculate the fuel supply for a trip back to Earth. And then Dr. Smith says, okay, do it. And then Robot says, I don't have all the factors to calculate pretty much. And Dr. Smith said, well, I'll do it. And then he just starts randomly flipping buttons and switches on the consoles. And
Once
then that's
again,
enough fuel right there. And then he even says, well, that looks pretty. So he's just going by, he's flipping anything. He doesn't know what it is.
oh God.
And then that's where now we eject fuel pods.
Now here's my one issue there. Besides us having some three-legged
Yeah,
alien
you're
now
right. It was the
outside
control
station.
panel.
Now we got a three-legged alien outside the spaceship, but they stick on the same background picture forever.
Which one? Which scene?
Well, we'll see it once we get back inside the ship. Looking
one?
out the window. No, looking out the window.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that.
Let us know when you see it.
They stay on that forever as the background picture.
Well, they don't have a static moving screen like Star Trek did. So
I'm-
Yeah,
that's
and
gonna-
I don't
that's
mind
gonna-
that. I don't mind that because it's a pretty nebula. It's clear that that's a real nebula that they're showing. So that's kind of nice.
Yeah, it is cool.
Well,
What is that?
it's one of those that I was getting so so irritated to the point where I just wanted to start nitpicking.
I just have a question. Wouldn't your most advanced space vehicle that humanity's produced have a way to have a locking mechanism on the control system when there's nobody actually at the controls? Like I could see if Professor Robinson and Dawn are at the controls flying the ship around, perfectly fine. But when they walk away and the whole system is being left alone, shouldn't there be like some code that they can enter to like lock everything down so guys like Smith can't come along and destroy everything?
Well, they don't necessarily show code, but they show that the handle's locked.
They do PvP, but it's getting installed on Tuesday.
Yeah, really.
Oh, it's always Tuesday.
Oh
When you think
man.
about it,
But
they're all-
or at least if you're about to dump all the fuel. Hey, are you sure about that?
right.
Someone made a picture there goes with Riker from TNT, and he goes, there he goes, just plopping in that is they put down on the screen there, just firing lasers out into space. And then someone commented, "Go, if we haven't made touchscreens that can't recognize a butt fire by the time by the 24th century, there we have no business being in space."
Well, yeah, but in the 60s, they didn't know about touchscreens.
Yeah, no, but you think even our ships probably had lockouts by then, just from any kind of threat or anything.
Well, you have to remember that they weren't as heavy into like science fiction, or science, I guess, like Star Trek, because obviously when Star Trek premiered, they did have like codes for self-destruct and everything. But this being a show centered around, quote, the family, to be inclusive for kids, they're going to make it a little more simpler, I guess.
I suppose,
Well,
but
yeah.
usually they at least try.
Oh, yes. And now we get the second appearance of this ship. I think this is the second time, right?
I like the look of the fuel station.
Yeah, it does look. It looks serviceable.
It's well designed because you got the big huge fuel tanks right there, right? So it's like obviously a fuel station. So yeah, very good design on that.
Right. I know it seemed kind of quick, but basically for everybody in the chat, Dr. Smith dumped the fuel supply. And then they did get upset and they did yell at him. But then that's when Professor Robinson remembered about this fuel station. And then the Jupiter 2 headed to that. So they're able to do that before they run out of fuel.
Very
No, it doesn't
convenient.
make sense why it's there.
Very
Yeah,
convenient.
because I can't remember which galaxy they said they're in. They said they're in some galaxy.
It's very convenient. They got the gas company out there far ahead of everybody else. It's very, very nice.
Yes. Yeah, so basically they got a bunch of fuel drums, hundreds of billions of light years, if not trillions of light years away from
Maybe
Earth.
they shot him out, like when we send off Voyager 2 out to go explore things, they shot out fuel stations all over.
And they're going warp 10.
Yeah, why not?
And the fuel turned into lizards.
It's also kind of a retcon.
Oh,
You think
boy.
they would have maybe mentioned it in some of the earlier episodes in season 1. If they had said
True, it
something
is.
like, if we could at least make it to one of those refueling stations.
Yeah,
It's true. These exist out of nowhere.
plot armor.
Plot armor. And there they are landing. And by the way, that ship we will be seeing again in the future. You know, as we've seen, Lost in Space likes to use props multiple times.
Then here's the thing. Don says he sees something, but he's not quite sure. So that'll be very important later.
This was part of the rewrites and the notes that Irwin Allen was going back and forth with them on. So I guess that's why as far as with Dawn, it doesn't quite make sense. Like I said, it was being bounced back and forth.
It sounds like they didn't really care what he had to say. But if you care about what we have to say, make sure to like and subscribe.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I hope you guys enjoy it, and don't blame us for the quality of the episode.
And don't forget to vote in the poll in the chat, guys.
Yeah, I think I know the answer. Right. Right.
Remember this could be fun.
Right. Remember when you're voting, you could be voting for what your opinion is of this episode, or it could be how you feel about our coverage of this episode. So whatever is comfortable for you.
I think our coverage might get a higher rating tonight, actually, guys.
It does help make it more interesting, I suppose. Passes the time a little easier.
Oh, Clanking Claude. There's another good one. I love it.
Well, they finally confine Smith to his quarters, but of course they don't actually do it, but they at least say it.
They say it, right. They don't show like a lock or anything.
Well, doesn't his quarters just have a curtain, though?
Yeah, it's that sliding door, but supposedly they have a lock on those little sliding doors. It's not much. It'd be easy to break through, obviously. And by the way, when was the last time you guys saw doors like those?
My grandparents used to have one exactly like that, guys.
Well, the reason why I mentioned this is because that's what we have on our bathroom here.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
The upstairs bathroom, it has the exact same kind of door as they have on their quarters.
That's cool.
Too.
I haven't seen one of those in since the 70s.
Yeah, except this one's white, just not silver.
If I remember correctly,
my gray, I think.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, my grandparents had one going in. Nope, never mind.
Okay.
Did my aunt's house have one? That even makes me think. Never mind. You're hurting my brain here.
Not only do they treat Penny horribly and talk down to her and make her sound dumb, but of course, Dr. Smith sends her to go and screw up the ship so she can get the blame for it, pretty much.
Yeah, I thought
poor Penny gets the short end of the stick a lot in this episode.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I just thought that was really that was like a really evil scene in the episode for me. That really bothered me. That not only are they treating Penny horrible and making her look like a complete idiot in this episode. Because I don't think Penny would ever go along with this kind of idea.
Without telling your dad, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I wouldn't mind a little bit of gullibility, but what they do is they make her, like you said, they make her look like she lacks intelligence because she doesn't think it's odd or suspicious at all when Smith shuts up the robot after the robot says that Smith is lying.
And you also think Penny would trust her father and Dawn to be more knowledgeable about locking the astrogator down, and setting it correctly than Smith ever would, right? So.
Well, and then one clear fact is in the pilot, they made them all look like geniuses with master's degree and doctorates and all that. Now they make Penny look like she's aloof and a naive.
Yeah, she was very badly written in this episode because, you guys know Penny's one of my favorite characters because I think she's generally a really excellently written character and very interesting. But man, they just made her look like a complete fool in this one.
Did Judy even get any lines? I don't even remember.
Nah,
kind of, but nothing of significance.
I don't even remember her being in the episode.
Well, she was sitting next to Dawn at the dinner table. I remember that.
Once again, poor Judy sometimes gets completely ignored in an episode.
Thank God her paycheck is set in concrete, so it doesn't matter if she shoots one frame of film or not. She still gets the same paycheck.
Well, that's
Yeah,
good.
and Judy was shown as having knowledge in astronomy in the very first episode too, and that
Yes,
never comes up
right.
again.
Correct.
At least not so far.
No, it's like the only the women are good for now is cooking dinner.
Well, not
Look-
that anymore. The computer does that now.
Well, they could still
It's
do the
true.
laundry. They could still do the laundry though, right? So.
Yeah,
Mhm, sure.
supposedly. Even that's mostly automated.
Oh boy. Yeah, it's definitely a
Right.
lot of sexist 60s sexism in this show for sure.
And not all the time, not every episode. Mr. Nobody was a good
Oh, I love that one.
outlier for that.
Yeah, I love that episode.
Well, then they will have better episodes too in the future.
There are,
but
yeah, there
you
are,
would think in the
there are
'60s,
great
this
ones.
is,
Yeah.
right? In the '60s, this is when equal rights for women and all that, and the women's lib movement was really going forward. You think they would have complained, but I guess they weren't watching this.
I think it was maybe a few years after this when it really took off steam, if I remember correctly, Paul.
Possibly.
I think it was probably the late 60s when that started to gather momentum. And then, of course, by the early 70s, it was a big thing, right? So
The three big shows when the night this was playing, the three big shows, and number one in the rating was Batman. Number two was Lost in Space, and number three was The Virginians. So that was the three shows that were shown at this time slot.
Huh. Okay.
And
And
Batman
finally-
won, and Lost in Space
Yeah.
was second, and in the ratings, and The Virginian was third. And by the way, this is Bettina Marcus, and she was 29 when she was painted green to play the Space Lorelei. Irwin
Jeez.
Allen.
Yeah. Oh,
Go
go ahead.
ahead.
Go ahead. No,
Sorry.
go ahead. Go ahead, Bob. Sorry.
Irwin Allen had featured her as the scampering and scantily attired native girl in 1960's The Lost World. He hired her again to wear the same costume and play a prehistoric age native girl in Turn Back the Clock, a 64 episode of Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea. In early 66, she had a second Voyage episode, also in the same scant outfit for the third time, no less. Well, he really uses those costumes over and over. And then the first, now, I'm going to break it to you guys now, so I hope you're sitting down. And then this is her first of two Lost in Space episodes. So this is not the last time we're going to see her. And she says in an interview, Irwin knew I was a single mom and he thought I had a darling little daughter. I really was a very quiet person. So I was surprised that he enjoyed talking to me so much. But he always wondered how I was managing and he respected me for being a good mother. I had somebody bring her. So she's talking about her daughter. I had somebody bring her to the set sometimes. And when Irwin had gatherings at his home, I brought her with me. He had a soda bar with a merry-go-round type of horses serving as seats around it. And then she liked to sit on those. He was very generous with her. He sent her Christmas gifts like a motion picture projector and a screen and different things. As for being painted green, she said, the makeup was very good, and the makeup man, Ben Nye, was an artist, and it was not toxic at all. It was a creamy texture. It was not uncomfortable. And he blended various colors, gold and blue, with the green. He really did an excellent job, and I enjoyed the way I looked when I was green.
That's one reason I gave this a rating above, a really, the worst, because I did enjoy the way she was made up here, and I thought she was kind of a cool character, even though we don't really know much about her in the episode. But I thought her performance was quite effective, and I enjoyed it. So that boosted my rating a little bit.
The singing, the singing, by the way, and when she speaks, that was up to her. It wasn't in the script. She had to come with it on her own.
Oh.
And she said at first people were like looking at her like, what is this? What is going on? What are you doing? But then when they realized, and then Irwin Allen liked it and said it was perfect for the character. Now let's see how long it takes for you guys to guess what that is on top of her head. What did they use to make that? Let's see how long until I get a right answer.
Salad bowl?
Yes.
No, I could have told.
Wow.
I could have told you that. But my issue is you can tell My issue is you can clearly tell that she's some air breathing person, especially by the nostrils and all that. That in space there, what I would have done, and they've had this ideas before because they showed it in first season of Star Trek. There
Yes.
that maybe have her as a cloaked ship, and then like have her like as like a projected hologram, instead of a space alien, or at least change it so it's not a non-humanoid space alien. Still had the same actor,
We are
but
talking about Lost in Space, and we are talking about rushed filming schedule and low budget because I think what happened was, I don't want to knock. But when I say this, I'm not knocking all of season 2 and 3's episodes. But I'm wondering if, since they had to, because it's explained last week, and when they went to color, that was an additional $25,000 per episode. The network did boost the budget a little bit, but I'm wondering if they also may have cut down on the production budget where they had less money to work with. I don't know.
That's possible, but I'm all for a mysterious lady floating in space who wants to eat fuel. But because, we have animals who, tardigrades who can survive in the vacuum of space. And like Gorilla mentioned later on in Star Trek, they do have different types of aliens who can live out there. But the problem is the talking and the singing, and Irwin actually liked that.
Right.
And because, that's why they say no one can hear you screaming in space.
And here's another issue. You got Don making fun of Dr. Smith, which I'm all for making fun of Dr. Smith. You guys know me, but he said he thought he seen someone. He asked, "Who are you?" at the fuel station. So now this is the time he should have asked. He should have been like, I might have seen her too. But no, he wants to make that jive at Dr. Smith instead.
That was one of the also problems they had with the script. And that was one of the notes from Erwin Allen asking why didn't they resolve that. He said it didn't make sense. I'm going to see if I can find it. Page 46. This is a note from Erwin Allen. Page 46. Don's attitude towards Smith's vision is strange, since he also thought he saw something on page 36. He went so far as to try to talk with the vision, and on page 38, he admitted that he thought he saw something human. So, yeah, that was one of the questions that Erwin Allen had, and I guess they didn't. And it says here and that's what it said, most of Allen's notes were addressed, but not all of them. So even though
addressed as in they listened, but they didn't do anything about them.
Yes, and by the way, we did get a rare sighting of the mysterious Judy there a moment ago on the bridge. So yeah, I wasn't totally crazy. She is in this episode sometimes. For some reason, too, also this episode took an extra day to film. Normally they shoot in 6 days. This one took 7. When they were shooting the space sequences over, it took the longest. So they would do a little bit one day, a little bit the next day, a little bit the next day. They spread them out over the days because they said they didn't want to overwork anybody. And Miss Marcus said that it was not too bad in the on strings. She said she liked it. She said she had a fear of heights, but it didn't really bother her that badly.
Well, and I guess they probably have a pretty solid harness, professional quality harness, I would think, right, Pop?
Well, yeah, every time I think about those harnesses, they've been around a long time. The only one I know who ever had a problem with them is George Reeves on the Superman series. He was on one and it broke. I don't know if you guys heard that.
I think I might have.
He fell like 10 feet to the ground.
Ouch.
So because of that, he refused to ever be on a harness again. And then that's when we got all the shots that are superimposed of him laying on his belly. And they used blue screen after that.
Huh.
Now, Don Richardson, the script supervisor, said, Wild Adventure was a crazy episode. I remember there was a girl on that who they had on a wire. Every time they pulled her up into the air, she had to throw up because the harness went around her stomach. Bettina Marcus didn't recall being squeezed to the point of vomiting, she stressed. I love being hoisted up by the cables. I was thrilled to be way up in the air and to be doing tumbles and be upside down and backside up and all that. That was wonderful. Maybe I did have a fear of heights, but I never really thought about it. The people I worked with were very good. One time I forgot how to get right side up after being upside down, and they were very kind and supportive, so I was okay. It was a little uncomfortable at times to be in the harness, but I enjoyed the experience of being up in the air like that. I had studied ballet and modern dance, so I felt like I was in my element doing those stunts. Where else were you going to do that unless you were playing Peter Pan, she said.
Well, nice. She was enthusiastic anyway. That added to the episode for sure.
Yes, and here's a note. The wire walking scenes for this episode with Mark Goddard, Bettina Marcus, and a stunt double for Jonathan Harris. Obviously, Jonathan Harris, because of his back, did not want to get on the wire. So that's why when they show him, you could tell it's from somebody from the rear. Also, if you guys remember, they show Smith wearing a helmet. He refused to put the helmet on because of claustrophobia. And they said, well, you've got to wear the helmet. And he says, no, I can't do it because of claustrophobia. So what they did was they cut the back of the helmet out.
Huh.
So when you see him, it's from the front and there's no back on the helmet. But that's what helps, I guess, for him to having a claustrophobic experience.
I just want to comment on the still here where she's going, Smith. How does she know his name? Or is she telepathic?
Yeah, they don't get that far.
She must be telepathic, though, if she knows Smith's name, right? She must read his mind.
Look at that. They heard him yell. Well, Don was probably yelling at him loud enough that you could hear him outside the ship.
like a house.
Could be. Yeah. Oh, boy.
The first 3 days of filming took place on the lower deck of the Jupiter 2 on stage 6. Below days 4, 5, and 6 were spent on the upper deck, which was built into stage 11. Behind the viewports, a starfield cyclorama was swayed back and forth to simulate the ship's passage through space. So yeah, it was a little bit primitive. Hush up, Pooch. So here's where Dr.
It
Smith
is
is
not
glad to hear.
compute, but suddenly I can translate her language. It's magical.
Right. And it doesn't sound like she's saying very much, but I guess he can translate it.
Yeah. Can we catch up on chat real quick? We got like five.
Yeah.
minutes.
Yes. Thank you, Gorilla.
Yeah, DVB says, well, for its time, you kind of can't blame them for taking some liberties with the logic.
The final cost for this episode came in at $155,820. This equates to nearly $1.2 million in 2016 when the book was published.
All right, DVB says, know what I mean? It's not like they had the internet back then.
Yeah, but the
We
good
have
writers.
libraries.
Yeah, but the good writers still read their books and did their research on a topic when they were going to be writing about it. So, yeah, there was plenty of information and knowledge available even back in the 60s. Because we know there are some great episodes of this show that are extremely well written.
And even if it's not like science books, there's science fiction already written to draw from.
But look at Star Trek. I mean, you had writers on there that understood, what they were writing about, and it shows, right? So.
Well, yeah, but one main difference is because Lost in Space was using TV writers, and Star Trek was using published sci-fi writers.
Exactly.
Like Richard Matheson and
Right.
Harlan Ellison and all that. So that's why there's a big step up as far as logic and
But my
Right.
point is, even back in the 60s, there were excellent writers out there writing excellent stories. So,
yes.
The DVB here says, for its time, the effects on the show are actually pretty impressive.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. Irwin Allen did. He obviously, like we've mentioned, he likes to use props over and over several times, but he didn't skimp when it came to special effects, which was good.
that was always a strong point for me watching Irwin Allen shows was the spaceships and, all the special effects. They were always, pretty much first rate. So, yeah.
Yeah, they says the writing, not so much apparently. Just this episode so far.
It varies. Some episodes are great. Some like this are pretty, much weak. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's putting a place, I guess, a filler until next week's episode. So next week's
Pretty
episode,
much.
I think you guys will be happy with. I think it'll be a little better. It may not be, 100% perfect when it comes to logic, but I think you guys will be happy.
I mean, they won't say silly stuff like we'll plot a new course, extend it into a space-time solution. What do you mean, move it?
Well, I didn't say that. We might get some corny lines, unfortunately. But hey, at least you get to see a love affair with the robot.
Alrighty.
I don't want to give
Oh,
away too much.
really? That'll be cute.
Yeah. Then Scurvy here says PvP mentions laundry. Better take a shot. Wait, I added that last part. Just kidding.
I thought-
Yeah.
I thought
Oh, I'm
laundry
way
was-
ahead of you, Gorilla, for this
Yeah, I
one.
thought laundry was for Sundays.
Yeah, and PvP says, "Well, I haven't seen this episode, but I will read your coverage too." No, you know what this episode did to me? Oh wait, my camera's not hooked up.
Uh oh.
I pulled out a 40. Yeah, I pulled out a pint of blueberry. I got a blueberry muffin beer.
Ooh, that sounds good.
Does it taste like blueberry muffins?
It has a very, very faint taste of blueberries.
Mm.
So do
I
you have
have
more
my
than one?
yeah.
Sorry, go ahead, Jill.
No, that's okay.
Yeah, if I had beer that was
More
really
than
good,
one?
I'd probably get more than one. Yeah, because like, oh, that was good. Darn, I don't have another one. So yeah, I'd probably get at least two.
Well,
So
I
what,
got
what are you imbibing with, Jill?
Well, I just have amaretto. I didn't hear the answer to Gorilla whether or not he has more than one of that particular beer he's trying.
what, do I have to go take a picture of my beer fridge?
Oh, you've got a separate beer fridge. Oh, okay.
My entire top shelf of my fridge, well, it's about half full now because I'm running. I haven't been buying beer lately, but I probably have about.
Hello, Gorilla.
Did he answer or is he counting?
I don't know.
Either that or his internet has crashed again or something.
I don't know, but I'll tell you why I'm drinking amaretto. It's because this episode says the titanium hull should be able to withstand the heat, but not 2 seconds ago. This one sentence was just contradicted a minute
Am I
ago
still-
when they said that
you guys still
the
hear me?
hull will melt like butter.
Yes, that's true. I'm glad they at least said titanium. Sorry, go ahead, Gorilla. Yeah, you were muted there for a minute, Gorilla. We didn't hear your final answer. How many beers do you have? Oh, I guess
Gorilla.
he's gone again.
Gosh, this is weird.
Well, I don't mean how many beers in general. I meant of the particular
Right,
brand. he
blueberry
just had.
muffin flavor. Right, blueberry
Yeah, how many
muffin flavored
blueberry
beer.
muffins do you have?
And by the way, we're not calling you out for it.
No, I just
you're a
am
bachelor
dying
beer,
to talk about anything besides this episode.
Well, I'm having a craft lager then right now there, Jill, if that would make the episode more bearable.
Well, and I was going to
This
say
episode is so
that bachelors
poorly
have an
written.
excuse. It is.
Well, anything that drives Jill to the amaretto must be pretty seriously bad.
I know
And
this is
you know
good.
what? That's because
ahead.
I should be having fun because this is an adventure in space. We're finally off the planet, but all that's happening is so infuriating.
Well, it's wild adventure. It's not wild. It's not an adventure. So the title is completely erroneous too.
I know it's a disappointment. Sorry about that, guys.
The only adventurous thing is Don's kind of small white t-shirt he's wearing.
All right, we do get it with both men and wife beaters, I guess you could say.
It's kind of nice to see them out of those garish season 2 costumes. To be honest, though, it's like a nice break on the eyeballs, you know. Because you got to admit, the season 2 costumes are pretty colorful.
Oops. Sorry, I was trying to pop Gorilla back in. How you doing, Gorilla? I think he left and he's coming back. I'm not really sure.
Oh, hey, and that's the thing about this episode is things they happen, they're a crisis, and then suddenly they're not anymore. Just really quickly.
Oh,
You okay,
here's-
Gorilla?
Your computer die? Uh-oh.
No, the cord came unplugged.
You need to
Sorry
get
to hear
another.
that.
Can you hear me?
You need to get another cord.
Yes,
man.
we hear you,
really do.
Gorilla.
We hear you now, yeah.
Yeah, you're good.
Hello.
You're good.
It's my Ethernet cable. All right,
Actually,
so
you're-
this here
yeah.
is what I'm drinking. Oh, I got just a sec. Oh
The
shit! I
disappearing
unplugged my
beer.
mouse.
Your blue screen or whatever behind you is kind of making the picture kind of.
Or maybe hold it closer to the
Yeah.
camera.
There we
Put
go.
it in your
No, it's
face.
because
There it
this
is.
is what I'm drinking.
Well,
Blueberry
nice.
muffin. Boy, that's some unusual beers. I have not heard of that.
I do like
That's
blueberry
cool.
muffin.
Well,
I
if you
do
want,
too. Does it taste like a blueberry muffin?
there's very Or there's very, very faint blueberry taste.
Mm.
Like there's just enough blueberry flavor in there that they can put it on the label.
Oh, that sounds like a disappointment.
Well, sometimes it's nice when something is subtle instead of
That's
overbearing.
that's true.
It's about as bad as the salt that they put on restaurant stuff now. Pop can vouch for that.
Oh yeah.
Oh, right. Where instead of seasoning the food, they just throw a bunch of salt in it.
Or nothing at all, and then they expect you to just dump salt and pepper with the shakers and watch it bounce off. When you think about it, you go to a restaurant, there's very few foods that you can add salt and pepper to that actually help because most of it bounces off. I'm not joking. It just bounces off. But
It's got to come to you still cooking, in the state of cooking, for the salt and pepper to do anything. Agreed.
correct. Yes.
I mean,
absolutely.
it can lay on the top of it.
Right. Which is all it does if it doesn't bounce off. But I don't know. It's a disappointment. I like spicy food.
Yeah,
And
me
Gorilla,
too.
I tried to remove you from solo layout, and I don't know why it won't let me.
So we got Gorilla on the big screen here for the rest of the episode.
So I don't know. I thought maybe since there was a scene with the sun that they were going to have to put on their spacesuits or something. But no.
Oh,
it's
here we go.
totally fine.
Oh,
Well,
this is a great still because it's like Angela Cartwright is realizing how bad the writers wrote her character in this episode.
There it is. I don't know.
But
if
at
something went
least
wrong
they
with my
gave her a
screen mode.
close up. Hopefully
Yeah.
she gets extra.
Well, and at least she
compensation.
does get right. At least she gets more lines than Judy does. I think Judy gets the less out of everyone in this episode.
That's true, yeah.
See, there's Judy.
Judy spotting.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like Bigfoot. See, she is sitting next to Dawn there at the dinner table, and there's no hanky panky going on under the table.
That does seem to be Judy's main role in the series, though, is to be next to Dawn. You know,
PvP.
pretty much.
PvP. When this was canceled, do you remember what June Lockhart did right after this? She went
Don't
straight to Petticoat Junction.
Oh, did she? Okay, I was not aware of
That
that.
was when, if you remember, that's when B. Benaderet died. It
Oh,
was
okay.
The one that
So
ran the
she-
hotel, right? And then it was
Oh.
just right, and June Lockhart took her place.
So she replaced B in the later episodes, then.
Right.
Oh.
By the way, you know, B. Benaderet was also the voice of Betty Rubble.
Betty Rubble, yeah, I did know, but yeah,
She was the first choice of Ethel Mertz for Lucille Ball, but she was too busy. That's why they got Vivian Vance.
okay. Yeah, actually, Petticoat Junction was a pretty cool series. Actually, that was a lot of fun to watch that show.
Yeah, I like those Hooterville shows.
They were good. Yeah.
So now we have Dr. Smith. I think he's confined to quarters. He's in the quarters to sleep. This is when everyone has to get up around midnight or so to get ready to steer the ship towards Earth. But he's woken up from his sleep by a hypnotic call from the Lorelei out in space. I'll say Lorelei. They don't give her a name
And they
yet.
show the bloop for no reason.
Yeah.
She does nothing.
Right. The bloop is just there to be there, I guess.
Wait,
Gotta have a
did I miss
cutaway
boob?
shot, I guess.
Did I miss a boob or something? Or did you
Bloop.
guys-
Bloop. B-L-O-O-P.
Oh, bloop. Okay.
Debbie.
Yes, it's your relative.
Yeah, Debbie.
Remember, Gorilla?
Yeah. This is the scene where they had to cut out the back of the helmet.
Well, you
How
think the front of it would be Tim just seeing that the size of the helmet would still trigger his claustrophobia.
Yeah, it seems
Yeah,
odd.
that's true.
I don't see how
Well-
cutting out something that you can't see because it's behind your head is going to help you feel less claustrophobic.
It's a psychological thing, I suppose.
Yeah.
He just
I'd say
Maybe.
it just
psychological.
helped him. If
Uh-huh.
it helps him, then it works for him.
Right,
I
like for
guess.
example, right, like if you're in a closet and you're claustrophobic, if you remove one wall, it might help.
If you move one wall, then the house might fall down too.
Right.
Oh boy. Oh, this episode. Oh man. Oh.
So at least they all
This is
do
kinda
agree.
cute,
They all
though.
see her, and and Dr. Smith unfortunately is out there having a blast. But now remember how he's under this hypnotic trance, so he's supposedly is not aware of what's going on.
Like, remember that dance in Wally with Evie and Wally, and they're around the ship dancing?
Oh, that's
around?
right. Yes,
That's me.
that was one of Pixar's last good movies.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Hey, welcome, Euler Greg, the original OG.
Hello, Ola Greg. Good to
OG.
see you. I hope
Hello.
you're staying warm, Ola Greg.
Hello, Oiler Greg.
And by the way, they had to change some of the dialogue here because when the dialogue was written, they weren't sure how the Lorelei was going to look. So some of the descriptions coming from Dr. Smith and some of them really didn't match. So once the makeup was completed, then they altered the dialogue to describe exactly what colors, like the greens and all that stuff. Now remember, if I remember, this is before we get Orion women in Star Trek. So I guess they
Yeah.
were big to have green women in the 60s. I guess it was a popular fad going on.
Well, little green men were the prevailing idea of what
Martians.
UFOs
Right,
Yeah.
look like.
UFOs.
Aliens, yeah.
Well, that was how, when you think about it, that was said, that term of the little green men was usually said by people as misinformation and to discredit the UFO organization and make fun of and mock.
Yeah, I think it was basically people mocking sci-fi in general used terminology like that back
It
then,
was,
right?
yeah. I don't know why. I'm sorry. I'm not saying that I'm defending the UFO organization.
Oh,
but
no, I'm listening to you on that. I just need it's like what? How the hell does missing Earth mean leaving the galaxy? Sorry, I have nothing.
well, I know, right? Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you think if they're that close for communications, they could send out a ship to go help them.
Well, I think they. Well, I don't think they show it yet in this episode, but they do eventually contact Earth.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the frustrating part. They're like, almost like right there to getting home. And then, of course, Smith. Yeah, he's the usual wrench in the machinery.
What galaxy are they going to? The closest galaxy is Andromeda.
Right. I don't know if they consider that much, if they really think about it that deeply, right?
And that's like what 20,000 light years away. I'm not sure, but it's a lot. It's far. We missed Earth. That means we got to travel that far.
I still can't understand how they got that close back to Earth. It's just like, I don't get it.
No, why? The authors of the episode didn't feel like actually writing an episode, so they made something crappy.
I can
Oh,
almost
yes.
imagine them. Yeah, I can almost imagine them laughing when they were writing this.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think they did it on purpose.
they were probably laughing their butts off, thinking, "Hey, wait till Irwin sees this on the TV."
Well, but just think of all the notes we're going to be getting from him. Ha 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 ha. Right. Because
Oh
at
man.
least according to this book, Irwin did have lots of notes, so he was trying to correct or do a course correct on the episode, but apparently they weren't taking it all seriously.
Hey, we
So
got this.
it also sounds like he must have done something to upset them. Obviously, if they were, I mean, that being that vindictive.
What did he do?
I don't know, but there was what I read from what I gathered. They didn't talk about the history of what he could have done to upset them, but all they talked about is playing practical jokes on him the whole time. And then
And this whole episode is a practical joke on him.
It was, yeah, pretty much, yes.
I like that we got the silver spacesuits back in this scene again. That was kind of fun.
The only good thing are the actors themselves and what
That
they
is
do
true.
with what they're given.
Yeah, actually, considering how bad the script is, most of the acting was, reasonably decent in this episode.
It usually is, and I'm sure that whatever input that Jonathan Harris had in the script probably helped because some of the things he says to the robot are kind of humorous because
Yes.
we get some firsts here in this episode. So we hear him say things that we hadn't heard of yet up to this point.
That's one thing I like about season 2 the most is how Jonathan Harris came up with so many insults, creatively new insults with the robot in a lot of episodes. So that's a lot of fun for sure.
He doesn't hold back with that here for sure.
Right,
But-
you could tell that
okay.
this is at this point. This is where Irwin Allen basically told him that he liked what he'd been doing with the character, and to do more, according to Jonathan
give
Harris.
him a
Quote,
little more creative freedom.
Yes.
But I
Maybe
guess
that's
this
maybe that's
confirms
what.
a question for me that I've been wondering is that Jupiter 2 is not suffering the effects of time dilation due to traveling closer to the speed of light because they get in touch with Alpha Control.
Yes, they do. Barely, but yes, they're barely out of range. But yes, they are. They do get their hopes up, thinking they're going to return to Earth.
But they
Yeah,
don't do anything to try to help.
Yeah, you
No.
think they would? You think they would dispatch some ships out to go investigate?
Well, I don't know if they have a fleet because this is supposedly the first one. But you think they might have some kind of rescue thing planned.
All they can do is shoot. All they can do is shoot out fuel dispensaries.
And then,
Yeah.
of course, once we don't get back to Earth, Will does a little folk music with the robot, which makes total sense, of course.
And I want to
No, this
point
is
out,
okay. I'm totally happy with the teaser. I was so
Right,
happy to be done with what I saw before that the teaser is adorable.
right? Can you go back for a minute where the robot is singing? I want to remind everybody that's Bob May. That's Bob May in the suit singing.
I love Smith's expression here, listening to the music.
Right, but I want to remind everybody that's not Dick. Usually, Bob May is the robot, and Dick Tufeld does the voiceover for the robot. But remember, I told you guys in last season's episode, anytime you hear singing or laughing, that's Bob May inside the costume doing that.
Cool.
So when you hear the singing, that's the guy inside the costume.
Billy Mooney is a pretty talented little musician too, wasn't he? Because I believe he's actually
there's a picture
playing
of
and
him.
singing.
Yeah, there's a picture of him with the Beatles.
Cool. Wow.
So yeah, he was really making rounds around Hollywood.
Nice.
Lucky, yeah. You figure the two
Boy.
luckiest little boys back then were him and Ron Howard.
Yeah, boy, they had great careers both, didn't they? Yeah.
Well, at least Ron Howard. Bill Mooney, I guess it's okay. I mean, he did what, Babylon 5 or
Babylon
Oh yeah,
5.
he was excellent in Babylon 5.
Was he a main character or no?
Between the main and secondary, he is very important in Babylon 5, but he wasn't like the main character.
But he was the only one from Lost in Space that popped up in there, right?
I believe so.
Okay.
We got Chekhov though. That's
Yes, we did Walter Koenig, right?
Mm-hmm.
My question is: has anybody ever seen the movie? It was directed by Stanley Kramer. Bless the Beast and the Children. Bill Mooney was in that. He was a teenager. That was early 70s.
I have not seen that one.
Oh wow! If you guys haven't seen it, in fact, it was the reason why I saw it. It was required reading, and it was first we read the book in high school, and then they showed the movie.
I have seen some of Stanley Kramer's films, though, and he was a pretty excellent director back in the day, actually.
What is it called again?
Bless the Beast and the Children.
He's also in an episode of Deep Space Nine.
Oh, do you remember what character he plays?
Yeah, he also plays an engineer in that episode where he's stuck on. It's the episode that Nog loses his leg.
But so he's human. He's not an alien. He's playing a human.
Yes,
cool.
He's playing a human. He's a Starfleet officer.
Well, I didn't know that. That's cool. Good for him. Now he's in his 70s. So yeah, 60s, late 60s. So I don't know if he still acts. He does pop up. Obviously, he popped up a couple times in that Lost in Space regurgitation on Netflix. And then he performs. He's got a band that he goes around and performs with. But I don't know if he still acts very much or not. I think he does when the right role comes along.
He still has the band. That's really cool.
He does have a band, right? He's been playing that guitar. In fact, he talks about that guitar. He still owns it.
The episode was The Siege of AR 558, Deep Space Nine.
Do you remember that, Gorilla?
Yeah, I'm sure he does, but I think... Oh, Gorilla, are you back?
No, what's the question?
Do you remember Bill Mooney being in the Deep Space Nine episode, The Siege of AR 558?
I remember that episode distinctly, but I didn't recognize him in there.
Yeah, he's there. He's the engineer that works with Esri.
Oh, okay. That's Bill Mooney? Okay.
Yeah, totally.
I guess I didn't recognize him without his
Yeah, so they kill Will Robinson.
How does he die? I have to ask.
Houdini, ain't it? He dies from Houdini, doesn't he?
What?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's like, it's a kind of mine that the enemy has.
Oh,
the Jump-a-Dome.
yeah. The mine sits in subspace, and then it just randomly it pops out of subspace to regular space. It explodes whenever anybody gets near it.
Okay, gotcha. Well, poor Will Robinson. And of course, this is the point where the robot was singing. Sorry, we had to go back. Robot was singing, and he stopped singing because Will Robinson is going through his tapes and deleting old information, pretty much. And of course, Dr. Smith is chastising him because he was daydreaming about landing on the island of Capri, which is an island in Italy. I'm sure most of you guys know that.
That's a good line.
And of course, right, the robot tells him he knows him well.
Like a brother.
Like
And
a
he tells
brother,
him
right.
he chickens out.
Right. So of course, which upsets Smith, and he tells Will to erase all that, especially all the sentimental twaddle, as he puts it.
Really like this teaser. It's fun.
Just in time, we have something pop up on the. I don't know if it's radar. I can't
They
remember.
said radar.
They do say radar. Good. And we have this time a different woman's voice from the one from Alpha Control. And obviously, what she says does not really make much sense, and even Will points that out.
I have one question. How come Professor Robinson and Dawn aren't on the at the controls here at such a critical time?
I think this is supposed to be late at night, maybe.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
they're the beta shift.
Oh God.
Right.
Jeez, Lord help us if they're the beta shift with Smith running things.
And of course, once again, we get the same planet, so we don't exactly get the variety like we do in Star Trek. And no moon.
There's the waving hands, arms wildly, for Euler Greg.
Right, danger, danger, of course. And then it warns them about, I guess there's a radiation belt between them and the planet.
It's particulate radiation too.
Particulate radiation, right? Which I thought that was nice because we do have a supposedly a radiation belt going around Earth. So that was nice they at least thought about that.
That's the Van Allen belt, isn't
Agreed.
it?
Yeah.
That's what I enjoyed about this, was the radiation belt and the shimmery effect of it.
And we got our closing credits.
Which
So
I thought was really cool because I saw a Star Trek name right here. Alexander
Lionel Newman.
Courage.
Oh, you're right. Oh, you're right. Yes. And when you think about it, really, this episode didn't have a lot of music. Not a lot of the regular music we usually hear.
Well, it
He
had
does
more,
the incidental music.
Yes, we'll get a lot of that next week, by the way.
had more music than the movie last night.
And
might have
dialogue
been
too.
That might have been an artistic choice not to have, since it had no dialogue in that movie. Maybe it was an artistic choice not to have music.
YouTube lore. I have the same birthday as Alexander Courage, December 10th.
Very
Ooh,
cool.
Wow. Awesome.
Lucky you get Christmas and birthday in the same month.
I do.
Unless you have to share your presents or whatever when you were young, or have to divide everything. That's not fun.
No, I never did. It's 10th is just far enough away from Christmas to not be combined with it.
Yeah,
Excellent.
you got like 2 weeks, or pretty much, right, Jill? So, can you imagine being born on the 25th of December and having to have all your presents combined, and you get like one set of presents per year instead of two? That
Well,
would
how
kinda
about me?
suck.
How about for me and my sister? Our birthdays were a day apart. We had to share everything.
Oh,
It was
lucky
worse.
you.
Yeah, my birthday falls right in the time where my birthday gift turns into my Christmas gift.
Oh, so that's what we were talking about. So your birthday's coming up here around Christmas?
No, it's already passed.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Oh, okay.
Your birthday was what? Early December, late November? What was it?
Wasn't.
Early December.
That's right. Okay.
It's just a few days before Jill's.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, 2 December
um,
babies here. Okay.
On the 7th, okay.
5th.
5th? Oh,
Yeah.
Jill's the 10th. Isn't Jill the 10th?
Yes.
Yeah, it's still a few days.
That's cool. Yeah,
Wow.
just less than a week apart.
Yeah.
As
Okay,
a
I'm being,
reminder,
I'm
everybody,
being
please.
picky.
As a reminder, everyone, please, if you feel up to it, please vote in the poll. Let us know your opinion of this episode. Hopefully, my poll is still there.
Yeah.
And which reminds me, Jill, you saw StreamYard's fixed that issue where it's not hiding the chat anymore when you click on it.
Yeah, I noticed that. That was much better. It was much better to scroll through it on Tuesday.
Yeah, seriously, that was a blunder on their half because it was doing the same thing for me for a while there. How are we doing on the chats, Gorilla? How far behind are we?
Oh, about 300 behind.
We'll get to you
Couldn't
guys.
be
I
too bad.
promise.
Yeah.
We'll try to read all the chats, everybody.
Yeah. Scurvy here says Gorilla is phasing in and out of dimension. Yeah, usually beers like that end up barely tasting as advertised. Oh, it's better than the burnt pretzel one I had. And
Burnt
Jesus,
pretzel. That sounds terrible.
well, it's a pretzel beer, but it tasted like they burnt the pretzel.
Oh, okay.
Well, at least it's what it was advertised. If it said
Yeah,
burnt.
No, it did not say
Right.
burnt on there. And old Uncle Joe is moving kind of slow at Junction.
At the junction. Yeah, it's a reference to Petticoat Junction. That show.
Yeah, it's a line in the theme song.
My big
Okay.
Disney.
And DVB says Greg the Oiler. DVB, I gotta come up with a nickname for you. I keep wanting to call you DVD, so maybe I ought to call you Blu-ray. Because you're better than a DVD. All right. The other Greg says some people would get claustrophobic in their breathing air equipment. I had to remove them from the oil field area because they were in danger because of their personal problems.
That makes sense. And then eventually maybe endanger people around them. So yeah, that does make sense.
Yeah, then he says about 10% of people that just can't wear breathing masks comfortably, and they endanger themselves and others, so they can't be allowed on site.
That's too bad.
And Oiler Greg says, "Cheers, everybody." Then he goes, "Warning, warning, arms waving wildly." And Oiler Greg says, "Bill was a critical member of the Central team on B5, his greatest role."
Oh, better than Will Robinson, huh? Okay.
Yeah, he was a critical character, but I wouldn't call him a main character. And
He's
Wes
an
Kegel-
alien, right?
Yeah, he played him in Bari.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, and Wes Kegel. Welcome, Wes Kegel. Welcome.
Hello there, Wes Kegel. Good to see you.
Hi,
Is
Wes
this
Kegel.
going to be a regular thing? I loved Lost in Space as a kid, still do. And sorry, I missed most of the review. Oh, we do this every Monday.
Yeah,
Yes, we covered the first season with Kegel, and now we're just starting the second season. And I'm hoping to do the entire show.
Yeah, we've been doing this for over 30 months now, or 30 weeks, I should say.
32.
Well, to be the
with
goal.
delays, right? We're a little behind.
Yeah, we've
We
been going
would've
for
been
ages.
further if I wasn't getting sick all the time, but yeah, we're up to 32 now.
Yeah.
Yeah, get better.
Get better, I know.
All right. We're all caught up on chats.
Yeah. In fact, I have an appointment tomorrow, but fortunately for me, it's 4:15 in the afternoon. So, Jill, I can be there for your stream, hopefully. Which
Good.
what episode are you covering tomorrow?
For the world is hollow and I have touched the sky.
All right. Okay. Perfect. That's the one where the lady, the main guest
Yes.
star, is wearing a wig that
Lady.
looks like it weighs about 50 pounds.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Great McCoy
So-
episode, though.
Yes, he gets
Well,
his
yeah.
chance to shine.
Scotty R37 says this episode is how he fell in love with Dr. McCoy. So I can't wait to hear that story.
Ooh.
It's an automatic F because the title of the episode's way too long.
So you think they should have just said Hollow World or something like that?
I don't know. 5
All
words max.
Limit by Wes Kegel put Pop's channel on vibrating bell notification. Yeah, if you haven't done so, yeah, click the notifications. We do this stream every Monday at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. And then Tuesday, we do our horror sci-fi stream. Tomorrow night's going to be Total Recall. Not for the Arnold Schwarzenegger version that is from 1990, not the remake.
I got to watch that tonight.
Yes, try to watch it if you guys have not watched it yet.
I have not seen it, yeah.
How about you, Gorilla? Have you seen it yet?
The movie? No, I have not.
Okay, that's fine. There should be a link in my community tab where you guys can watch it. It's on.
I believe-
I've seen
for
Total
today.
Recall several times, but not lately.
No, what do you think about the movie?
Love it. It's really good.
Oh, good. I think they'll enjoy it. Yeah, because obviously PvP and Gorilla have not seen it yet, but I think they'll have fun when they watch it.
Yeah, get your ass to Mars.
Exactly. What are you waiting for?
Oh boy.
All right. So please remind everybody vote in the chat. I'm going to go clockwise as usual and ask the panel each for their review of the episode, their grade, and to share anything about their channel that they would like to. How about you, Jill? Are you ready?
Yeah, okay. Look, I
I don't know if you
appreciate
want to
the.
go first or not, but I know it's
I
tough.
can.
Okay.
Oh, I don't mind. I don't mind. I appreciate the drama, the eventual mayhem, the backwards progression that Dr. Smith the character provides in general with his mischief. That's the only thing that this episode seems to understand. However, it was done in such a way that required all of the Robinsons to be less than intelligent, and as such, it was difficult to enjoy the dramatic entanglement on any level except for Dr. Smith, the robot, and Will. Everyone else has been reduced both intellectually and in character development, and I realize and allow for explosive sounds in space because it's more fun that way. So I guess that's why we're supposed to accept an alien talking in space, but just it's the kind of same allowance I guess I'm supposed to allow for, but there's no device on her to get her to transmit her thoughts to the ship. So I guess maybe PvP is right. She has to be telepathic. I don't know. I also don't know how changing the heading releases all of. I mean, I realize that. I don't know. There's just so much that happens in this episode. It really doesn't make any sense how they are supposedly they miss the chance to stop at Earth, and so they're flung outside of the galaxy. That's quite a distance. They really don't explain any of that. But I did really love the pretty nebula in the background, and it turns out that that did come from NASA. But I gave this episode an F overall.
Oh, okay.
Ooh,
I'm glad. Thank you
ooh.
for being honest, Jill. I appreciate that. Tell us
Yeah.
about your channel.
My channel is the same as my name, Antiderivative Jill. I like to celebrate science fiction, even if I'm talking about a bad episode. I really enjoy it. I enjoyed the actors. The actors are just as phenomenal as ever. It's just the writers of the episode really dropped the ball on it anyway. But yes, my channel is Antiderivative Jill. I like to talk about science fiction. Tomorrow I'm going to talk about Star Trek third season, For the World is Hollow and I Have Touched the Sky. And on Thursday, I'll have a shore leave because I'll be out of town on Friday.
Okay, so would that be your last stream before Christmas?
Yes.
Oh, what
Okay,
what
cool.
time's your shore leave on Thursday, Jill? Same time?
Yes.
Oh, and any topic yet? I'm just curious.
Not really. Scotty R37 wants me to watch Die Hard 2.
Okay.
Electric Boogaloo. Now, what time is the usual time? Is that noon Central?
Noon. Noon is the usual time, yes.
Okay, I know I have physical therapy that morning, but I should be done. I'll try to stop by.
Yeah, luckily
definitely,
I should be that should work out perfect because I'm working a shorter week. I'm only working tomorrow and Wednesday, so I should have Thursday completely off. So I should be able to pop on for sure, Jill. That'll be fun.
If I do pop in, it'll be on the chat, not in the panel, because I haven't seen that movie. I don't even remember. It's been so long.
I don't even know how long we're going to talk about it. It's a shore leave. I'm not making slides. I'm not digging into research.
Oh,
The whole
okay.
point of a shore leave is that I don't do any work. But it's kind of still making me watch a movie, so we'll see.
Yeah, I actually
Okay.
don't know if I'm going to get around to watching Die Hard 2 because I don't know.
Yeah,
I
it doesn't
won't.
matter. I don't care. It's not required for being on the
good.
panel because it's a shore leave.
Okay, good.
Okay, so that's going to be your last stream for the holidays. When are you
Yes.
returning? When are you coming back?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't really thought about it. I know I'm not streaming on the 26th.
Will it
Possibly
probably
I
be
will
after the
stream.
New Year?
No, I might have a shore leave on the 29th,
Okay.
and then I'll be back on the 2nd for the for
Star
Well,
Trek.
yeah.
I am going to and this is to let everyone know, everyone in the chat, everybody on the panel. Jill's going to be, as she's talking about, she's going to be busy with her family for the holidays. And like I said earlier, I know a lot of people have plans. So we probably will not have Lost in Space next week. I'm going to delay that until everybody is back to normal and they're done with their whatever it is they have to do. I don't know if we'll have the following week or not, but we will return. And so please bear with us. I'll be back for episode 3 of season 2. So
Yeah, I
don't
won't
think.
be doing Lost in Space because it's New Year's Day.
Oh, that's right. Tuesday. Yes, it does. Oh, right. So I mentioned
Mondays.
2 weeks.
Mondays. Yeah.
Right. So we'll be on a 2-week hiatus from Lost in Space, and then we'll return on the 3rd week.
Yeah. So basically 3 weeks from now, then. Okay.
Yes. And as far as my horror sci-fi stream at Gilligan's Island, it may or may not. I'm not sure. Well, I'll let you guys know. So keep an eye out and hit the alert bell. It depends on my schedule and Gorilla's random thoughts.
Hmm.
But stay in touch, everybody. If you haven't subbed to my channel, please do. And thank you for sharing your review and about your channel, Jill. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
And once again, it's StreamYards. Normally, when I have you on a solo layout, you can select the 3 dots and it says remove from a solo layout. It doesn't do that anymore. Now it only shows solo layout, solo layout, solo layout. So let me.
So you got another bug with StreamYard.
Yeah, apparently they're tweaking on it in the background. Oh, there you are on camera.
Looks like we're good there.
Okay, so I was wondering if you were next. Okay, yeah, there's like some sort of delay apparently. All right, PVP, are you ready? Tell us about.
Oh, yeah.
Something to say?
I'm about as ready as I'll ever be with this episode. I was too generous. I gave it a C minus. I probably should have put it down in the D category somewhere. I only gave it a C minus because I liked the green lady. She was kind of fun. I thought her performance was good, even though it wasn't really much of the episode. Other than that, though, I would have definitely pulled it down to at least probably a D or a D minus. The writing is so inconsistent. It's basically really poor writing. It doesn't make a whole heck of a lot of sense most of the time. The characters are so dumbed down, it's painful in a lot of scenes. And of course, as usual, Smith gets away with all his shenanigans because nobody's watching this guy. Nobody, puts him in, locks him in a corridor or somewhere or in a room, and so it's just like, it's basically just so convoluted and nonsensical. It's like, you're halfway across the galaxy or whatever for like a year, and then you just fly for a day or two, and you're right back close to Earth. It's like, okay, that makes no sense. So yeah, actually, it's probably not much I can really add. It's just basically a very weak episode, one of the weakest in the series, I think. Thank goodness for that. There aren't too many quite this bad, but yeah, I can't really add too much. To me, this makes Spock's brain look like a masterpiece, if that means anything to you guys. So yeah, it's pretty bad. I should have probably given it. I should probably even given an F like Jill did because it's
Well,
pretty
you
bad.
still can. It's not set in concrete.
Yeah. I'll give it an
I
F.
got a nostalgia for the show and so you shouldn't let my thoughts influence.
No,
it.
but your thoughts made a lot of sense. I'll move it down into the D range then, because the only good thing is the green lady, and she's only in what, maybe 5 minutes of the entire episode, 10 minutes at the most. So there's not a heck of a lot of fun in this one, really, when I think about it more.
He's the one who has the most fun, clearly.
That's what it sounds like. Yes, you're right.
The only good thing was the green lady, because I thought her performance was solid, even though she didn't have a heck of a lot to do except float around in space. But yeah. But the whole thing about getting so close to Earth and then, having to rescue Smith and going flying halfway across the galaxy again, that was really annoying because to me it made absolutely no sense. But I guess the writers were basically flipping the bird to Irwin Allen on this one, from what you read about there in the book. So yeah. Anyway, that's about it, I guess. I can't add anything more about the episode except it wasn't very good at all. And as far as my channel goes, I try to upload, some music every once in a while. I haven't been doing a lot lately, but probably during the Christmas break, which is starting for me on Thursday, I should be able to upload, a few things at least. I'm hoping to. So I guess that's pretty much it, guys.
All right. And thank you. I appreciate that. Oh, good. It worked. I think Gorilla's helping me out here. Okay,
Click
Gorilla,
the-
your turn.
I just clicked the thing right underneath the things here that changes the layout type.
I appreciate that because it seems to be messing up on my side. Thank you, Gorilla. So, Gorilla, what say you about this episode and your channel?
All right. Anybody who's listened to me knows how I feel. Move along home. This episode's just a step up from Move Along Home, just because I didn't have to listen to Al Marine count to 3, Al Marine, then 3 more. I
Well,
didn't have to.
help me out. Let's move along home. Sorry.
Episode 6 of season 1 of DS9.
Okay.
It's that one with the game episode where it's Cisco, Bashir, Dax, and I can't remember who the heck.
And
the
if you look carefully, you can see Kira's soul leaving her body as she's doing those hip hopscotch jumps.
That's really bad. Yeah, it's really bad.
Is that it, Gorilla?
Oh, did we lose Phil again?
Sorry, I had a text here. No, the dialogue was just bad. I was getting tired of looking at the same picture in the view screen. Like every time they clicked off the away from the Windows there, they could at least change the background picture, made it look a little bit differently. You know, the whole woman outside the ship there, I would prefer that to be in like a hologram from like a ship that's cloaked or at least can't be detected by sensors. You know,
Right.
they should, and that, you know, and some of the dialogue just went, oh, you can't maneuver the ship, then we have no, if we can't move the ship out of the way of a hazard, then we have no business being in space, especially from
I guess that's true.
long distances. It's just so inconsistent and stupid. No one did the research. Nobody thought anything through. It's like, did these people get hired to write Discovery?
Ooh.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I know. Shots fired.
Really what it
shots
sounds
fired.
like it.
It sounds like they did a better job on Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea and Mission Impossible. Yeah, so that's why I think the bad writing may have been intentional.
Yeah. So I've changed my grade. You'll have to someone will have to do the math. F.
Okay, 0 minus 0. F.
What was your grade initially?
Well, I put it as a C plus, and a C minus on the.
Because I think entertainment wise, it was like, okay, there are things happening, but none of them make any sense.
Right. There are people talking. There are lights. Things are moving from left to right. And Gorilla, tell us about your channel. Thank you for the review, by the way.
Well, maybe I might have time to do another one of those Keys to the Kingdoms tonight, but otherwise, we're watching Justified on Wednesday. We're in the middle of season 3. Friday, I should be there for Walton's on Friday. It's The Heritage. It's a really good episode, from what I remember. So, but and I'll probably get a copyright strike on that one.
Oh, I hope not.
Heck, I've won all but one copyright claim from Warner Brothers. As much crap as I give Warner Brothers, they're been the best ones on the copyright so far. They're not nearly as bad as CBS or Paramount.
Oh,
But then Saturday, if I'm able to do it Saturday, we will be reviewing The Car That Ate Paris, or was it The Cars That Ate Paris?
sounds like fun.
So it's a 1974 cheese fest. I decided to go cheesy this next week. It's going to be very interesting. Then I probably will not be able to do Die Hard 2 on Sunday because that's Christmas Eve, where I'll probably be at my sister's. So maybe I'll do something on Christmas Day. I got another plan for Christmas Day.
It's interesting that both you and Jill are both covering Die Hard 2.
Well, we're just gonna watch it. Jill's gonna go in depth, and
I'm not gonna go in depth. It's a shore leave. I don't do any work.
You're not gonna go in depth and analyze.
I mean, if I have time,
for 5 minutes?
maybe, but I don't know. I might listen to some podcasts about it while I'm wrapping presents. But that's the most I'll do.
Well, that sounds like more fun than watching the movie.
Yeah, I'm not going to watch Die Hard 2. I mean, I wasn't that... Well, Die Hard 1 was okay, but it's not the kind of movie I watch every year.
Well, then why does Scotty want to watch it? Huh?
Well, he
Well-
likes it. Yeah. Well, there are a lot of people out there that do like Die Hard. I don't know about the second one, but I know it's got Die Hard. The first one has a big following.
Oh yeah, and a lot of people
Oh,
do
yeah,
say
of
it's a
course.
Christmas movie. So
And it
there you go.
is.
Hey, Jill, you got to watch A Christmas Story Christmas.
Okay.
It's actually really good. That's
the
actually really
sequel-
good.
Right. That's that new sequel to the Christmas Story. If you're wondering.
Yeah, it's really good, Jill.
Now,
Oh
is
yeah, I
Die-
haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, is Die Hard 2 a Christmas movie?
Scotty R37 says yes. I have not seen it yet.
Oh, okay. I don't remember. I mean, maybe it is. I don't know. Thank you, Gorilla, for sharing that with us. Anything else you want to mention about your channel?
Nope. I just put a short up of how to saute shrimp. The best seasoning for sauteing shrimp.
That sounds delicious. I saw your other streams too, and I saw the mints. Those looked good. I liked it. You made different colors.
Yeah. I was hoping to do Cub Scout colors, but I couldn't find my blue.
Okay, gotcha. Well, sorry to hear that. But I'm sure one of them will, and they look delicious. And it inspires me. I think I'm going to try to make some. Not tonight, but soon.
Oh, they're very easy. They're just
And let me
kind-
see if we can do this.
Oh,
Okay, there we go. I get I'm just like you guys. A lot of mixed. I'm not going to say mixed feelings. I hate that term. People always use that, but they want to be vague about the review. So I'm not going to be vague. I'll be specific. So I'll give it a D. It's definitely not A or B material, but it's Lost in Space, which is still close dear to my heart. And I had a couple laughs. I liked the interaction between the robot and Dr. Smith in this episode. And I know the scene was very, very short, but it was nice to see Professor Robinson physically running towards Dr. Smith, wanting to injure him. And they stopped that for a moment. I laughed when Dr. Smith ejected the fuel cells and then was hiding behind the chair. I thought that was hilarious. It was like a child. It reminded me, of course, which he does often. It's too bad that two writers didn't pay attention as much as they could have and give it this episode a little bit more. But it's better than a lot of the modern stuff that comes out now. I still enjoyed it on a family level because I first saw it as a kid. The green lady with the salad bowl on her head, she was entertaining, but like Gorilla said, they really didn't do much with that, and then suddenly she just disappeared, which was in the notes. They were talking about that, how she just came and went for no reason, hardly at all. Maybe it was telepathic as far as the sound through space. I'm not really sure.
Well, no, she found the pile of fuel that Smith let out.
Oh, no, is that what they said?
No, I'm making it up.
Okay. They could have said that. That would have been a good response. But yes, like I said, 2 weeks we will not be having Lost in Space. We'll be back 3 weeks from tonight with the next episode due to the holidays. But tomorrow night we will be here on my channel. Wait, first, tomorrow, everybody, make sure you're at Antiderivative Jill's channel at noon Central Time for her coverage of Star Trek TOS for The World is Hollow and I Have Touched the Sky. I'm going to try to at least be in the chat for that. And then tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Mountain Time, our sci-fi horror theater, we're going to be covering Total Recall. So if you've seen it or if you haven't, there's a link in my community tab on my channel where you can go in and watch it for free. And it's great if you can join us. I think it's going to be fun tomorrow night. As far as I know, we're doing Gilligan's Island on Wednesday if everything works out right. It depends. I always have to balance it out between my schedule and Gorilla's schedule. And the closer we get to the holidays, that might be a little dicey. But I want to thank everybody for bearing with us. And reminder to please vote in the chat. I'm going to be ending that here shortly and then covering the results. And I'm still trying to, now I can't get out of solo layout. I don't know what's going on with StreamYards. I mean, seriously, first they were hiding chat. There it is. So I guess there's some sort of delay.
Oh, I did that. Underneath here on the bottom here, you got the solo person, then you got like two people next to each other, then two people in a gray box like this. Or you could do
Well,
this.
I did try to use that when mine wasn't working. But I appreciate it. I'm glad you got it to work.
All right, we got two chats here. Scurvy, Wes Kegel, you may find Pop does a great job and also manages to cover the chat.
Oh, when I can, thank you. But that's also why I have Gorilla here. Gorilla's top notch when it comes to covering the chat.
Yeah, and Scurvy here says Jill's camera lens was foggy from amaretto fumes.
Fumes. This is gonna sound really ignorant, but it's because I don't drink a lot. But what is amaretto? Is that a brandy? Is that like a whiskey? What is that?
It's a liqueur.
Yeah,
Is it something
Italian,
you?
I suppose.
Yeah, it's an
Oh,
almond liqueur pop.
oh, that sounds good. Is it like
Yes.
like sweet? I like almond, like almond. Like almond, the taste of almond, but I've never
It's
had amaretto
it's
before.
it's quite nice actually. Yeah, it's a nice little thing to sip on. Like it's not
Yeah,
like you're gonna chug the stuff, but
yeah.
it is very tasty.
You mix it with some serum mist and grenadine.
Oh, what do you mix yours with, Jill?
Nothing. I'm just drinking it, but it is sweet.
It
It's
is
a
sweet.
little
Yeah,
bitter and sweet.
It's quite
I like
tasty.
I like sweet stuff. Right. Right. Yeah. But whenever, if and when, which is rare that I do drink
Yeah,
alcohol or heavy liquor, it's got to be something sweet. So that
yeah.
actually, maybe one of
And
these days
welcome,
I'll try
Cam Camp's Crash Course. It says, "Hello, everyone. Merry Christmas and Happy New
Cam,
Year."
Cam.
Hi,
Good
Cam
to see you,
Cam.
Cam.
Before.
Cam. Yeah, Cam. Cam. I hope you're doing well. I'm sorry, we're just getting ready to wrap this up. We just watched the episode. We gave our reviews, and now I'm going to be covering the poll of what the chat thought.
Merry Christmas, Cam, Cam.
Yes, and by the way,
Everyone.
yes, Merry Christmas, everyone. I hope everybody has a wonderful Christmas. I don't like saying the word holiday because it's like they're trying to replace Christmas with that word now. So I'll say Christmas as often as I can. What grade would you give Wild Adventure? Was the poll in the chat. And it looks like we got 50%. Oh, nice. It looks like a little more positive than we were. B plus
I,
to B minus for 50%. And C plus to C minus with a 33. D plus to F minus with a
All
16.
right. Well, I think the F there, you could probably jump that up to about 40. I think it's 50-50 because I think the C plus and C minus, you take one of those away from there to switch it to D to F there. PvP said bet was way too generous on his.
yeah, I'd probably go into the D range at least. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so we're 50-50.
Well, that's
I'm
fine.
I'm
And you guys are allowed to change your opinion, obviously.
Yeah.
I'm totally shocked though that 50% of the people that voted put this thing in the B category. It's like,
You have
wow.
to remember that Pop also says to, if you haven't seen the episode, to rate the review of the episode. So that
Oh,
could be for us.
that
Oh,
could
yeah.
be it. Yes,
That would
that
be
could
But
be
it
great.
it.
could be.
Yeah. If you
Good
guys
point.
enjoyed the stream, then that's wonderful. Then,
Good
yeah,
point.
that's the whole point is we're here to entertain you.
Yeah, good point, Jill.
But
So
it
it's
could
a
be for
solid
the
F.
episode too.
So,
There might be some
so,
love for this one.
so the episode got Fs all around. We're 100% Fs.
But that does not mean do not stay
Uh,
tuned for the next episode. We do encourage you to please be back for the next episode in 3 weeks. I think you guys that'll be Ghost Planet. I think you guys will have a good time with that. We'll all be back as well.
Yeah, and
I mean, there was more love for the empath than I was expecting,
Yeah.
so why not?
and welcome Edge of Time here. He says, "Did she say amaretto? Make mine Bellagosio."
Belgioso. I haven't heard of that either. Hello, Edge of Time. Good to see you.
And DVB says, "Merry Christmas, Cam. Scurvy here says, Merry Christmas, Pop.
Merry
Cam,
Christmas.
cool. Sorry I'm late. Just a pleasure to see you all.
Well, I'm
it's a
glad you're
pleasure.
able to stop by.
yeah, thanks for stopping by.
But somebody help me out. What is Belgioso? I'm sure I'm butchering that name, but what is that? Does anybody know?
That brand I have not tasted. I'm assuming it's an amaretto kind of, like amaretto, I would think.
It says there's a Belgio Ioso. That's a kind of cheese. Maybe the cheese
Mm,
goes well with the amaretto. Not
Oh,
sure.
Should
I
be.
thought about that. I am going to try amaretto. That sounds enticing. So, but I know I'm not supposed to drink alcohol, but hey, you only have one life to live.
Yeah, I know there's a few different almond type liqueurs, Pop. I can't remember the brand names offhand, but there are probably like 2 or 3 different ones, and some I think they're pretty much all about the same quality as far as flavor goes, and some
Okay, so
are cheaper
so
than others.
amaretto's not the brand; it's the name. It's the kind of booze. Is that
No,
right?
amaretto is kind of the brand name. Yeah,
Okay.
it's basically just an almond flavored liqueur is what it basically is.
Okay. I like almond. I wonder if I'm thinking about how that would work in a recipe. Like if I made like an almond pie or something, almond. I don't know. I'm thinking about what I could do with pecans. Maybe like an almaretto cheesecake. I don't know why that sounds good. If I
Oh,
could
you're
figure out
right.
how to make the
They
recipe.
use amaretto in desserts all the time, like tiramisu.
Ooh, okay. Then I'm gonna look that up. Then I'm gonna pick some up because it sounds enticing. I do like almond and pecan flavored stuff. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
All right. How are we doing on the chat, Gorilla? Are we caught up?
Nope.
Okay. Thank you.
Scurvy says, Merry Christmas to everyone on panel and chat. You too, Scurvy.
Yes,
Merry
same to
Christmas,
you,
Lemon.
Yeah, Merry Christmas. I'm gonna miss you guys. Sorry,
Merry
go ahead.
And
Christmas.
DVB greets Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas,
And
Cam
the
Cam.
time says, when the moon hits your eye like a big lemon pie, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas,
DVB
Edge.
says, I only voted A+ for your coverage, not the episode.
Well, thank you, DBB.
Yeah,
no, I made the mistake. Sorry about that. Thank you. I appreciate that.
So we'll just start calling him Blu-ray, if that's okay with him. At the time, hello, my friend. Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year. And at the time says it's fancy. Merry Christmas,
Well, it sounds
Cam.
like it.
And Cam says, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to Scurvy. All right,
Very
we're all
cool.
caught up.
All right, and thank you again, everybody in the chat. I really appreciate you all coming by and spending time with us. And most of all, of course, everyone in the panel. Jill, thank you again for the wonderful slides. And Gorilla, thank you for helping me out with the chats.
Yeah, no problem.
Of course.
And yeah, I'll see you guys some of you guys I'll see off and on sooner. But for Jill, I'll see you I'll say hi during your Thursday stream, obviously. I'll stop by in the chat.
Sounds lovely.
All right. And once again, like I said, thank you everybody in the chat. Great seeing you all again. And that's what we're here for. So with that, what I'm going to do is I'm closing this stream. I will be showing the teaser for next streams. It's not next week's episode, but it'll be next stream in 3 weeks. And with that, have a great night, everybody. Drive safe, stay warm.
Good night.
Good night.
Believe this place to be both alien and hostile to us.
Identify yourself.
Robot Model B9.
Well, then where are we?
Fast alert!
Search and destroy. Search and destroy.
Warning! Extreme danger! Object pursuing us is a hyperatomic missile.